In this tutorial, we are continuing to create the world's hardest game. In a previous exercise, we have created level 3, which has some rovers acting as the enemies, and we need to collect a coin in order to get to the safe zone. If we play this game, you can see that one of the problems is that because the rovers are constrained to move north-south, when they are pointing east-west, they don't actually move anywhere, and it's only when they turn round that they then start to move. This makes their movement very unpredictable, and this can cause a problem for the game. So one of the things that we're going to do is to try and improve the way the rovers move. So I'm going back into edit mode, and I'm going to take a rover here, so with the object tool, and if we have a look at the code on that, we can see that always it moves north-south. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the node tool, and I'm going to create a path that actually runs north to south. And when I've clicked that there, I'm going to escape, and I'm going to make another path here that runs north to south. Click there and escape, and then a final one here. I'm going to actually put it right in front of the safe zone, and then that runs north to south. So I've got 3 separate paths, and I've escaped to come out of the node tool. And then I'm going to take one of the Kodus. I'll just take this one here because it's easy to access. I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to program it, and I'm going to say move, instead of north to south, I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to say move on path, and it's going to be on the white path. And I'll maybe just throw in here a quickly, just to give it a little bit of challenge. So this rover has the new code, so I'm going to actually delete these other 2 rovers, point at them, use the delete key. Then I'm going to place this rover, copy it, and then paste into different positions on the actual paths themselves. So notice I've placed it somewhere on the path to start with, so that when the game starts now, you can see that they are moving up and down much more regularly on the path, and this will give much better challenge to the player. They can anticipate where the rover is going to be, but it's also constantly moving, and that makes it difficult to just sneak across quite easily. So that's my first improvement to the game, and that could be a new level 4 perhaps. So if I escape that, come out and go to save my world, I'd want to change world's hardest game to level 4. The conditions remain the same in terms of what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm going to click on save for that. Okay, one of the things you should always remember with each of the levels is to go into world settings and come down to how the game starts up, and make sure it's start game with world description so that you can see what you're supposed to do on that level. So if I escape out of that, and I should save that again because I've made changes to the world. I'm going to overwrite that existing file. Remember also that you'll need to link together all the different levels in order to get them working. So now I have a little bit more challenge in my level 4, and I'm going to try and do something a little bit different for my level 5. So I'm going to save this as level 5. So world's hardest game L5. The conditions will be the same. I'm going to save that. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to the node tool, and I'm going to delete each of these nodes. So point at a node, when it glows, press delete. That'll get rid of it. Make sure it's glowing. When you point at it, a little bit of a problem there because there's a rover and a node, so it's finding it difficult to pick up exactly where it is. We might have the same problem here. There we go. So one of the things that you might find easier to do is to use your object tool, move the object out of the way, back to node, and then it's easier to point at the node and delete it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and make some loops. So I'm going to use the node tool, and I'm going to make some circles around this coin. So I'm just going to have a little path. It's not a circle as such, it's a polygon. And I'm going to join the start and end node up to each other there, and then I'm going to escape. And then I'm going to try and do something similar around the outside. And obviously I might want to tweak the exact position of these to make it a better path. Again, escape there to come off that. And then I'll maybe make one patrol up and down here as well. So click here to here and then escape. So I've got 3 separate paths, I've got 3 rovers, and I'm going to use the object tool to then move 1 rover onto this path, 1 rover onto this path, and then 1 rover onto this path. Now when I start this up and press enter, now that I've got my instructions appearing, you can see that they're going to start to move round in circles. And certainly the 2 circular ones, they're together there, but they quickly get out of sync with each other. So one of the things that I could do is to individually adjust each of these rovers. This rover on the inside, I'm going to change settings, and I'm going to take its forward speed multiplier down. I'm going to try 0.5 at first. And it's I might need to adjust the turning speeds and turning accelerators. Let's see how it starts just now. So with this middle one at half the speed, it's still a little bit ahead of that outer one. I might speed up the outer one, or I might slow down the inner one a little bit more. So it's going to be a process of trial and error to point at this, change the settings, take its speed down a little bit. Let's try 0.3. Try it out again, and then see. And they actually look as if they're keeping together quite closely now. And that's like the windmill kind of challenge that you get in the real world's hardest game. It's going a little bit out of sync there as it goes further on. So a bit more tweaking. Maybe the outer one, which I think was speeding up a little bit. So I'm going to change settings on that and take its forward speed multiplier down to 0.9. And they look as if they are getting in sync and not really drifting too heavily. And hopefully the player plays quickly enough that they can get across before it really becomes too noticeable. So when it comes to building your new levels, there's all sorts of different tricks you could try with the paths. You could make some crosses, you could add more coins. Let's have a quick look at adding more coins. So I'm going to go to the object here, I'm going to add a coin over here. So I've got 2 coins now, and then what we could do is in our Kodu code, so I'm going to program Kodu. When he bumps a coin, he grabs it, but what he could also do is, I'm going to go to game plus score, and I'm going to add score onto, I'll maybe make it the yellow score so that it's like a coin color, and yellow is going to be points 1. So when I bump the coin, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to add 1 point. Now at the moment you can see that bumped coin grab is 1 command, and then score yellow point on its own is 1 command. So if I actually try to run this game, you'll see that I'm constantly getting points because it's happening whether I bump into the coin or not. So what I need to make sure that I've done on the Kodu is the yellow score point is only going to happen when I've bumped the coin. So I'm going to indent that so that I've got to have bumped the coin to grab and to do this thing simultaneously. So if I try it now, and I think it's WHG keys, I'm going to wait till they get past. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to get hit. Not fast enough. Try that again. So you can see I've got one coin there and one went onto my score. So what I'm going to do now is adjust it so that when I'm on land, it's not going to be got coin anymore that's going to make me win. What I'm going to say is when scored yellow, and then I'm going to compare that. I'm going to compare it and see if it's greater than or equal to a score point of 2. So I need to have scored 2 points in order to win. And I'll be honest here and say that it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to get into the middle and get both coins, but hopefully that code is going to be exactly what we need to make a double coin selection before I can finish the game. So try out some of your own ideas, have a look at how World's Hardest Game works in the original version, and try and implement some of those ideas into your own code.